Shalom, all praises to Yahweh Bashim, Yahweh Shai Bashim, Kakadash. It's your brother Elder Ayathan back at you with another video. And in this video, I want to talk about grudges. You know, within a brotherhood, holding grudges against one another. Because that's a thing that goes on. And it seems like it's been going on a lot lately. And it's an actual demon. There's a demon called Loki. Right? I've went into this a couple times. I did a few videos and brought up a few times that there's an actual demon called Loki, which is a spirit of discord. And is a demon that we've seen amongst the brotherhood. And two camp leaders out there and members that are heads of the camp, top positions in the camp, you got to be on the lookout for this stuff, and you got to put an end to it. You got to put an end to it right away, because many a times these grudges, they're known about. They're kind of like swept underneath the rug. Nobody wants to deal with it, and it usually builds up for years and years. And it's usually a known thing that there's friction between two certain brothers. And then there's nothing done about it. The camp leader don't do nothing. He figures the problem is going to resolve itself on its own, or the problem's just going to go away. Nah, when you see an issue, you got to deal with it. You know, when you see a little leaven, you got to deal with it right away so that the leaven doesn't spread. Because what that does when there's grudges is it invites discord. It causes discord within a camp. And a lot of times what may happen is that there may be a split in a camp because one brother might have a couple brothers that are cool with him and that like him, so they'll side with him, and then the other brothers will side with the other brothers. So it's like, then it turns into a big unnecessary thing that could have been squashed from the jump. And sometimes maybe one member has to be put out. One member might have to be put out. The camp may need to be split in the middle or whatever. The whole thing is, though, that it has to be dealt with, and that thing cannot be left to fester. You know, and that's for camp leaders out there. You can't just sit on your ass and expect the thing to go away. You're supposed to be caretakers of the flock. You're supposed to look after the flock, and you're supposed to be an example. So, hey, being a camp leader is not an easy position. You know, but to whom much is given, much is required. So if the Most High put you in that position, He put you there for two reasons. One of two reasons. The first reason is you got what it takes. You got what it takes to be in that position, so the Most High put you there. So now it's your job to grow in that position, and you're going to be faced with different situations that you're going to have to step up out of your comfort zone. Because look, we have men, we like peace. We like peace. We don't like drama. We don't even like dealing with that shit, you know? A lot of times, you might be, I'm going to use a relationship with a woman, because a lot of those principles are the same, man. There's a reason why the Most High refers to Israel as a woman. And he symbolizes, again, to the truth and wisdom. It's all revolves around being akin to a man having a woman, or a man in a marriage with a woman. All those same values you look for in a woman, the Most High looks for in His men. You know, which is to be loyal, have integrity. You know, be loyal to that one man, which is Yahweh. You know, and Yahweh Shai. So my whole point is, man, is that running a camp is like running a household. And you're going to come into situations that you just don't want to deal with. Just like with a woman. She may do certain things or cause certain drama. And a lot of times, as men, you just shut up, because it's easier just to shut the fuck up and not say nothing than to say something and deal with the drama after, because he doesn't want to deal with the shit. But what that does is, it leads to issues down the line, because you never put your foot down, you never set boundaries, You know, you never set boundaries for respect as yourself and boundaries for this is how this household's going to run by these boundaries that I'm setting. And so you basically, you let a problem fester, and then it turns into a big issue, and is much harder to fix it sometime down the line than when it first occurred, you know? So that's pretty much the way you run a camp. A camp is a house, it's a flock, right? It's a church. So when the issues arise, you got to deal with it. And that helps you grow as a leader, as a camp head. And as a leader, you got to deal with the issue. You can't just let it go by the side and think it's just going to go away. Or brother's going to resolve it on their own, you know? So going back to my statements that the Most High put you there, either because he knows you got the tools that it takes, and he's going to grow you in that position. So when certain situations arise, he's going to put the spirit on you to step up and to handle the situation. So now you're growing as a leader, you're growing as a man, and as a leader, more importantly. But the other thing is, he may have you in a position to where it's going to destroy you, or it's going to prove you that you're not fit for that position. So he's going to put stuff in your path, and you're just not going to deal with it, or you're not going to know how to deal with it. So something else that happens is eventually you just lose respect of the house. The house loses respect for you as a head because you're not handling the situation. And sometimes they got to take the situations in their own hands and do something. But then when they're put in that position, they have to basically make themselves ahead and put themselves over you because you ain't doing shit about it. You're too lax, you know? And it works that way in a relationship with a woman. If shit is happening in that relationship, you're the head of that relationship. If you're not handling business and she got to step up and handle the business, then guess what? She's going to lose respect for you as a head because you just didn't want to deal with it, or it was too much for you to handle, or whatever. You know, you could put the blame on a woman for a lot of things, but a lot of times the blame goes on you, you know, because a lot of times you're with a woman that you shouldn't even be with, that you should have got rid of a long time ago. So if you put it on yourself to keep dealing with that, then that's really on you, you know? You should have said, like, damn, do I got what it takes to deal with the bullshit this woman is throwing at me? And if you don't, then either you got to step down, be like, yo, I'm not going to be the head of it. I'm not even going to try to deal with this, or you got to set the shit straight. So it's kind of like, it's the same in a camp as in a camp, you know? And a lot of times it's not the camp, because look, if you're the head of the camp, the men in the camp is looking up to you to set shit straight. Remember, you are the shepherd of the flock. So you got men under you that are looking up to you, for example, and pretty much with great power comes great responsibility. So it's up to you to steer the sheep where they need to go. And if they're doing wrong, you got to set them straight so that the flock is growing how you want them to grow, right? In the spirit of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. Also, you can't be a tyrant. You know, that's another thing. But that's going to a whole separate topic, right? I don't want to keep veering off, but I'm circling back around to brothers holding grudges. As a camp leader, you're supposed to have your eyes on everything. And if you see something like that going on, some funny energy between brothers, you're supposed to be on top of it. You're supposed to get to the bottom of the situation. And you're supposed to dish out the order, set that thing in order. And if one of the responsible party is not willing to work things out or to be negotiable or whatever, then you might have to get rid of them. You might have to step them down if they're at a high rank. Because a man like that, who's holding grudges and who can't handle personal issues or communication with other brothers, he should not be in no head position over the flock. That's fucked up. It's not fair to the flock to have somebody in that mental state over the sheep, right? Because that's a man that's impulsive. That's a man that's acting on his emotions, right? And I got a scripture. I'm driving, so I can't really go zip in and out, you know. But I got a scripture I want to read. But I'm going to read at the end of this lesson and kind of encapsulate everything I'm saying. But to those brothers holding grudges, man, you got to let that shit go, for real. All right? Because that's a demonic spirit. And that's akin to murder. Because you're having evil thoughts about it. If you holding on to a grudge, that is essentially hate. And hate turns into murder. Because it starts as a thought. The reason why you're holding a grudge is because you're thinking of, you're pondering on a brother, you're pondering on a certain situation. And instead of the spirit of meekness coming upon you, or the spirit of being humble, or the spirit of mercy, or the spirit of forgiveness, a whole different demonic spirit comes on you, and that's the spirit of holding a grudge, which essentially is hate. So here it is. You're pondering and you're grinding on this thought, other brother. And instead of squashing it, or calling the brother up and saying, yo, brother, such and such, whatever, you hold on to it. So you hold on. So either, man, you're not being a man, and you're not, it's like I got somebody on my ass. Either you're not being a fucking man, and you didn't get to the bottom of the situation with the brother and confront him, and you're just being a bitch and you're holding it in, and it's building up in you, you're building up hate and resentment and all that. That's on you, being a bitch. I'm just put it straight like that, okay? And I could go back to a relationship with a woman. It's the same fucking shit. If a lot of brothers, and me included in times past, because I had to grow and learn how to be a man, you might have a problem with a woman and you're too scared to say something because you're scared of her or you don't want to beef or whatever the fuck. And then either two things happen. You become her bitch because now she got power over you because you're scared to say shit. So now you do whatever she says so you can avoid confrontation. Or she loses respect for you and she leaves you when she's the one that's been acting fucked up. But since you didn't say shit, and either she's knowingly acting fucked up, so she's like, yo, I could walk all over this nigga, and he ain't even a man to say shit, and she walks out on you. Or sometimes, brother, they don't even know they doing fucked up shit because they weren't raised correctly. You know what I'm saying? A lot of them weren't raised correctly. A lot of them know they weren't raised correctly. So a lot of us brothers that are like, in the truth and we rough and all that, they look at us like to be their daddy. Because they're like, yo, I need a man to teach me how to be a fucking woman because I know I'm too masculine in this world or whatever. So they look for a rough-ass mother effer to so-called put them in her place, Some of them know that. Maybe they know it directly or they know it subconsciously, But my whole point is that sometimes they know they're being a demon and sometimes they kind of honestly don't know they're being a demon because they just were raised differently. Their mom raised them, didn't raise them how to please a man. So sometimes they just don't know. So if you don't say anything, then they don't know shit is wrong and they just keep doing whatever they're doing. And now you're growing resentment and the whole shit blows up in your face one day. But at the end of the day, it's your fault. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, it's your fault. As men, that's just how the world goes. Everything's your fucking fault. Whether it is or it's not, that's just how this world works. So my whole point of saying that is that we take that back to the brotherhood. You got to just watch everything. You got to watch everything. You got to notice when there's bad energy. You got to pull them brothers to the side. You got to get down to the bottom of the issue, Because a lot of times a brother that's the offender, you got the offender and you got the offendee. Sometimes a brother that is the offender, he has no clue that he offended you. No clue whatsoever. You know what I'm saying? So he's going on day by day and he has no clue that you got this grudge against him or you got beef with him or you got some heat. The man has no clue about it. And then you acting funny towards a man, you got funny energy, and he's looking at you like, what the fuck is eventually he starts going to resent me towards you, starts looking at you like you're a little bitch, or whatever the case may be, because that's just what happens when you resent start resenting and holding a grudge, you don't come around the brother, you stay away, and you just start looking like start looking like a little bitch your damn self. You know what I'm saying? So so if you got a problem with a brother, the scriptures say you gotta squash that beat before the sun goes down. Because after that, it turns into something else. Satan starts working on your mind. Loki will start working on your mind. You know what I'm saying? And trust me, Loki got all the energy and he got all the resources in the world to fuck with you. You know, to work on your mind, to work on your spirit. You know, get you to hate and hate more. I'm at the camp right now, so I'm not gonna dwell too much longer on this. But yeah, bro. Like I was saying, a lot of times the offender, he has no clue that he offended you. So you got to say something, right? And what's even more wicked is sometimes a brother uh will apologize to you. You know, just on the strength of offending you, he'll apologize to you. Maybe he actually did something wrong, and he's like, "Damn, my bad." You know. But the point is, once a brother apologizes and you squash that beef, that should be it. You shouldn't be holding no grudges, you know. And if you're holding a grudge after that point, then that's totally on you. You know, that's totally on you. That's a demon. That's a demon that you need to work on. You know, you got demons on you. So anyway, I'm gonna read a scripture. I mean, trust me, we could go on this topic. We could go on and on. But holding a grudge and Yahushua, me personally, I hate that shit. I hate hearing that a brother got a grudge against other brothers. Because look, bro, to you brothers out there, trust me, man. I'm gonna say this: that spirit of holding grudges, you didn't get that. None of y'all can say you got that from any of us. From none of the bishops, none of the elders, none of the apostles. You never got that spirit from us. We never showed. Even look, what I was gonna say before I made that statement is, look, trust me. We've had plenty of little beefs, skirmishes, disagreements, whatever amongst ourselves. We're all men. Men have different egos. We're all raised a little bit different. Me, myself, I was raised a lot different than most other brothers. You know, because my parents, they're not from here. The generations of my family are not here in America. Like, before my parents, there was nobody in my family here. So the way I was raised, whatever values I have, such and whatever, so to speak, that I had before I came in the truth, I didn't learn in the truth. The way I was raised is much different than, for me personally, most of the brothers here that were born here, their family is from here, grandparents are from down south or up north or whatever. So some of the things that I say or do or my attitude towards certain things is much different, you know. So I may get offended or pissed off at certain shit that is nothing for them. So if I'm just using that as an example, right? So if a brother do something and offends me, you know, I might say something or I'll just shut the fuck up, because a lot of times man, we make a big deal out of fucking nothing. We turn how do you go you turn ant hill into a molehill, something like that. Basically, you take an ant hill, you turn it into a mountain, right? So you can either say something if you really need to. A lot of the times, it's just you. A lot of times, it's just you. And saying, "Oh, I don't like the way he said it. I don't like the tone he used. I don't like the way he looked at me." A lot of that is just Satan. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of times, you know, brothers crack jokes and shit like that. And they just cracking a joke. And then you taking the shit all personal. A lot of that shit is work that you got to do internally. A lot of these beefs that you got with brothers is like shit that shouldn't have been beef in the first place. That you got to have the character as well. Let shit slide off your shoulders. Not take everything so personal and so hard. You know what I'm saying? So that's the first assessment you need to make. Like, is it worth even talking about this because it's fucking bullshit. You know, I could just suck it in, you know, and realize, yo, that just some brothers got. Look, some brothers say shit that are. We have brothers in our camp that say shit that are very straightforward. Boom. There's like no smoothness. You know what I'm saying? No sandpaper in the edges of it or the corners of the words. It's just straight. And you might get offended. You know, you might get offended because in this world we're taught where things got to be said the right way with a certain tone, and it's got to be presented in this fashion. So, you know what I'm saying? So it looks out for your emotions. Some brothers, they taught you straight raw, and it may seem offending, or it might be offending, but the brother doesn't mean it that way. So you gotta kind of like look past that. There's like, hey, bro, that's why being a man, um, being a man, we deserve a lot of respect. That's why the Most High put the man in the head position, because to be a man, there's a lot of things, a lot of internal work you got to do, and a lot of things. There's a lot of weight on his shoulders. There's one thing that Kevin Samuel said, right? One phrase, thing he said, and that shit just sticks in my head because it's true, and is why we deserve our respect as a man, as men. You know, why Yahweh Shai deserves all the respect in the universe, but the hierarchy the Most High put on earth is the man, and there's a reason for that, because of shit we got to deal with. One saying he said was that pressure is built for shoulders, not for hips. You know, pressure is built for shoulders and not for hips. And one thing that I've learned, you know, as becoming a man, is that a real man thrives. A real men, or men themselves, they thrive. I don't want to say this the wrong way. They thrive, or they become men. They thrive, they become men. They are fashioned in tribulation. You know what I'm saying? During the times of hell and tribulation, that's when the man comes out of you. Because you gotta dig deep. You gotta dig deep into your loins to set order, to build, to be logical, to build shit, to put things in order, to build build an organization, build a camp, you know, build a business, build a family, build the world, build a community, build a kingdom. That's when real men thrive. Women do not thrive in those type of conditions because they're emotional. They start breaking down, they start crying, they run for shelter, like during the time of war. During the time of war, that's when the man comes out of you. During the time of war, during the time of tribulation, because now you got to sit down and figure this shit out, you know? But when men go through that process and they build the world and they build what they call creature comforts and luxuries, that's when women thrive, right? That's why they said, they had that saying that women make the home. They don't build the home. The man builds. But the woman, once everything is built up and all the comfort is there, then they could now they could do their thing. Because women thrive in comfort. You know what I'm saying? So, slacking, man. I went through that whole fucking shit. But the whole point is, man, as a leader in this truth, you're building a house. So, you got to take all these things into consideration. You know, as a man in this truth, you're learning, you're going to be a leader, you know? And one of those things you got to learn is problem resolution, how to deal with conflict, right? How to deal with conflict and how to resolve problems. And that's one of the main key things, communication and becoming a man and becoming a leader. And that, you got to understand that there's brothers that have different spirits. You know, some may clash. Your spirit might clash with another brother. But at the end of the day, it shouldn't turn into no grudges or no hate. You got to understand how that man works. hey, look, I'm gonna say this one thing out of many. You got to give props to Apostle Tahar as a true leader. Is he deals with many many types of characters, right? Hey, the top three under Apostle Tahar, right? You got Apostle Gabar, you got Apostle Rakah, you got Apostle Arimlop, right? Three different spirits. When I say three different spirits, I mean they all have three drastically different characteristics. All right, Apostle Gabar, Apostle Rakah, their spirits are their character. When I say spirit, their spirits are different, right? And then you got Apostle Aramlab, spirit, and each of their spirits are totally different from each other. And then you got Apostle Tahar, and his spirit is even different from them. But like I said earlier, either you got it or you don't, right? You got the Most High will put you in that position, and you're going to prove and grow into that position and excel and prove that you are a leader, or you're not going to make it. And somebody else eventually is going to take your place, right? And that can happen in different forms. The whole camp may say like, "Yo, we don't want you in this position. You got to be out." And then another man comes in his stead, or the Most High may take you out somehow, some way, and put somebody else in your stead. But going back to being a leader, Apostle Tahar is that he deals and he manages with all those different spirits. Something that Apostle Paul said. He says he became all things to all men. Meaning Apostle Paul had the spirit to where he could deal with anybody and he could bring himself to the same level as them. So that they feel comfortable. They feel, in other words, what they call vibing, that they could vibe with each other. So Apostle Tahar has that same characteristics. And us, the bishops, under Apostle Tahar, under Apostle Gabar, under Apostle Rakah, under Apostle Aram Lab, we've all picked up that trait and all try to mimic that as leaders, is that we could be around any brother and we could work with them, because at the end of the day, man, it's all about the work of Yahweh Shem Shai. So we're all building the temple, the spirit of the Most High, the spirit of the Kingdom Most High is within us. We're building up the spiritual temple right now, right? That's why the scriptures refer to us as lively stones. So we're building up the temple. So in order to build a temple, when it comes down to the business of the temple, the business of building, you all may have different whatever, but when it comes to building, you all supposed to be follow the same set of instructions. So at the end of the day, it's business. So when it comes to doing the work, there should be no reason why brothers is bumping heads when it comes to doing the work. You know what I'm saying? Especially if you're on top and you're a leader or leaders of a camp, you shouldn't be putting forth that example as you yourselves. But here, I got a scripture here. Like I said, I feel like I've been rambling. Lord's will has been edifying. But man, about this topic, you could go on and on and on. But after a certain age, man, like, especially in its truth, the scriptures say that the world should know who we are through the love that we show towards one another. So this is like a conversation that we should be having very few times. I don't know why this shit's been coming up so much. Like I said, you don't learn it from us, from the apostles. You don't learn it from the bishops. It's a demon. It's a demon. It's a demon out there. I'm telling you. Look it up. Look up Loki. It's an actual demon of discord. So y'all gotta squash that shit. And I'm gonna say this: whoever it is that has the grudge, you're the one that needs to speak up and go out and squash it. All right. This is Colossians 3, and I'll start at 12. Put on therefore as the elect of the Most High, holy and beloved, bowels of mercy. How do you catch yourself having bowels of mercy if you're holding a grudge? Does that make sense? If you're holding a grudge, then you're not following this right here. You're not having mercy. And look, if you can't have mercy, if you hold grudges, you're not fit to be a leader, man. Really. You're not fit. You don't have the tool. That's one of the vital tools that you need to be a leader. You're not fit to be a leader or a head. Because when you have a grudge, that means you have some unresolved issues that you don't know how to resolve. So how can you be a leader if you can't resolve your own issues? And you got to instruct other men, or when they have issues, you got to tell them how to squash it. You know, there's nothing wrong with having skirmishes. It's gonna happen. You know, things like that happen so that you can exercise your skill set of squashing issues, squashing beef, having mercy. The reason why it's written here is because situations like that is gonna arrive, and one thing you gotta have is mercy, so you know how to deal with those situations, and so Satan doesn't fester in your head. So you don't do anything stupid, impulsive to another brother. There's been situations like that. Brothers snuffing other brothers because they can't control their emotions. Put on therefore as the elect of the Most High, holy and beloved, bowels of mercy, kindness, humbleness of mind. And a lot of y'all got so many demons on you, you get loose at the lips with other brothers saying disrespectful shit. You know? And what did Yahushua say about offending a little one? It's better you tie a millstone around your neck and drown. Because you may be it's not cool when another brother says disrespectful words to you, because, you know, we as men, like, you know, we're hard, and we got a lot of shit to deal with, you know, including in our own homes in this day and age. You know, you got demons in your own household. A demon in your own household that you got to come home to. You got to fight, you know. And the one place that's your refuge, Proverbs 18:10, man, the tower of the Lord. And part of that is the brothers. We're all in the tower. But that's supposed to be a safe home, a refuge for you, a place where you feel safe and let your guard down. How fucked up is it when a brother comes around the brethren and he got to put his guard up? Or he got to brace himself for what somebody might say to him or whatever. That's pretty fucked up. And them arrows, you know, that are shot by another brother who's a friend, them shits hurt, man. You know? So brothers don't... tell you, man, that's the spirit of a fucking woman. You say shit, you don't care how it makes a brother feel or what you're saying to him. It's just you're going into a tantrum, emotional tantrum, and you just gotta, fuck you, you know, like you got Tourette's or some shit. And then the demon in you might calm down, and then it comes back. Nah, man. And if you are drinking and that's adding to the problem, you gotta cut out the drinking. You cannot handle your liquor. There are certain brothers out there that cannot handle liquor, and they become a mockery. So if you can't handle your liquor, do not drink. At least don't drink around other brothers. If you're gonna drink at home, drink while you spaced out, you know, buzzed up, spaced out or whatever. Don't be hitting up no other brothers. Don't be calling no other brothers. Don't be texting. If you know that your tendency is to say some stupid, dumb shit, just enjoy your buzz by yourself. You know what I'm saying? And if you had squashed the beef with the other brother, well, like I said, you got demons on you. Because if you squash a beef with another brother and he squash it on his end, and you're the one being the aggressor still, then you got demons on you. It said, forbearing one another. Oh, Slacky, I jumped down. Verse 12. Put on therefore as the elect of the Most High, holy and beloved, bowels of mercies, kindness, humbleness of mind, meekness, long-suffering, forbearing one another. And you know what forbearing means? To forbear means to control an impulse. You know, it means to control an impulse. Here's forbear right here in the dictionary. Politely or patiently restrain an impulse to do something. Refrain from doing or using something. All right. Let me see. What's the synonyms? Abstain, avoid, bridle, cease, curb. You know. So it says forbearing one another and forgiving one another. So in other words, we're all men. We all do dumb shit, say stupid shit. Like I said earlier, you gotta calculate. Is it even worth making a big deal out of this? You know, maybe the brother had a hard day, he's going through some shit, or he didn't mean it in the way you perceived it. You know, oh look, the brother's just straightforward. Oh, the brother cracks jokes. You know what I'm saying? He likes to crack jokes or whatever. Sometimes the jokes be a little bit offensive, depending on who it is. The different brothers crack jokes in different ways. Sometimes it's offensive, sometimes it's not. But like I said, you gotta know the brother. Is this the type of brother he likes to offend brothers? No, then okay, he didn't mean nothing by it. I'm just taking his shit. Fucked up. He just speaks like this. Like there's so much that comes into. There's so much that goes into being a leader. You know what I'm saying? And being a camp head. That's why you got to respect your elders. You respect your camp heads because they don't voice or let you know everything that they got to deal with at home, in the camp, dealing with y'all. You know, a bunch of knuckleheads. Because a lot of brothers, you are knuckleheads. You know what I'm saying? And you know you're knuckleheads and you're hard to deal with. So you got to give that man a lot of fucking respect for dealing with your ass. And whatever the hell he's got to deal with, aside from having a family or a woman and dealing with that, then dealing with the camp and the spirits and the characters in the camp, you got to give that man a lot of credit. You know? So he forbears. You don't see that man snapping at you and for every little fucking thing. You know, that's goes into being a tyrant as well. So to be a leader, top position, you got to learn to forbear. Even if to be a regular man, a soldier in the camp, you got to learn to forbear. You know, because those are attributes that are valuable to a man throughout life. Period. No matter at work, in the world, in the truth, you got to have those attributes. You know. Forbearing one another and forgiving one another. Forgiving one another. If any man have a quarrel against any, even as Yahushua forgave you, so also do ye. All right? Because look, the Most High looks at the reins or the hearts of all men. So, if the other brother forgave you and you still holding a grudge, but he forgave you in your heart and you squashed it with him and you held a grudge, that means you didn't forgive him in your heart. You didn't forgive him in your heart. I'm trying to think of a good example. Yeah. That's why Romans 9. That's why Paul said you're a murderer from the beginning. You were like Esau. He's a murderer from the beginning. Because supposedly at one time, Jacob and Esau, they made peace. Right? They made peace with each other. You know, I believe it says Esau cried, he wept, they both cried. You know, that's when Jacob and Esau came back together and they so-called squashed their beef. Jacob squashed the beef on his end, but Esau never squashed the beef, right? The scriptures tell you that he had perpetual hatred. So you are in the spirit of Esau. You're in the spirit of Cain. You're in the spirit of Esau. Okay, that's why Paul said that Romans 9. Romans 9, when he said, ye are of your father the devil. He was a murderer from the beginning. He's talking to Jay. He's talking to Negroes. All right? So if you're holding hate and hatred and grudges, you're in the spirit of Esau, who killed who murdered his brother. Cain murdered his brother. Esau sought to kill Jacob, you know. But murder starts as thoughts in the mind. So holding a grudge, that's the precursor. That's like the cousin to murder. Slack it. Let me hurry up because, I got to get to the camp. It said kindness, humbleness of mind. Humbleness of mind. You know? So another thing is when you're holding grudges against brothers, it's like a demon that keeps going on in your head. Voices, demons, and the shit just gets worse and worse and worse, man. You know? So you don't have humbleness of mind. You're not peace of mind. Because you got these demons, they break dancing in your head. You know what I'm saying? Out there break dancing, electric boogalooing, moonwalking all up in your head. Have them throwing a party up in there. Yeah, you hate that nigga. Fuck that nigga. All this shit. And then, bro, it's not cool. Your whole continent starts changing. You start avoiding brothers. You don't want to be around the camp. Like, the shit really just changed. It makes you dark. You don't want that. You gotta squash that shit. It says, even as Yahushua forgave you, so also do ye. And above all these things, put on charity, which is the bond of perfectedness. So that's all I'm going to read, man, because I got to get to the camp. But look, if you got a grudge, fix it. It's a demon, man. So it's a demon that you got to work on. All of us got demons we got to work on. That's one demon. That's a serious demon that you need to work on. And you camp leaders out there, if you see stuff like that going on, you got to put an end to it presto, okay? Because if it turns to something ugly or it gets bigger, expands, or spreads throughout the camp, that's on you because you're the camp leader. It's just how it goes. Just how it goes, bro. And if any brothers out there holding grudges against another brother, I strongly suggest you go handle that shit quick. Handle it quick. Do it with the brother one-on-one, or you could do it in front of the camp, And you really should apologize in front of the whole camp. If the whole camp sees it, apologize in front of the camp and say Salakia. And guess what, man? A brother that acknowledges his faults gets much, much, much respect. Much respect and much love. That's a fucking beautiful quality. That's a quality of a real man, acknowledging your faults. And faults are there for a reason, so that you can acknowledge your fault, fix it, step up and be a bigger man, a better brother to other brothers. That's what it's all about, leveling up. But the scriptures say a righteous man falleth 7 times, but he gets back up. So you got to fall. When you fall, that means you made a mistake. Unless you make mistakes, you don't know where your weaknesses are. Unless you make mistakes, a lot of times you don't know that you got a demon on you. You make a mistake, sometimes it's such a demon, you're not able to pick up on that mistake yourself, and another brother might see it, and they got to point out your mistake. So instead of holding a grudge or being a fucking asshole or a bitch about it, say Dawada, say Slakia, and thank the Most High that the brother was able to check you and help you plug up that hole, meaning that whatever that little chink you got in your armor. You know what I'm saying? Now that's one less chink you got. Now, if you got other ones, they're going to get exposed, and you patch those up as you go along, and guess what? Pretty soon, you're going to have a full body suit of all armor, right? So the scriptures say the truth is our shield and our buckler. Also pray, that's our shield and our buckler, to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, to make you 100%. So anyway, with that, I'm going to say, Lord's word was edifying, I'm going to say Shalom, all praise to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai Ba'ashem Kakwadash. Shalom.